Here we go once again. A few more people coming on here. David, welcome. So obviously you guys know this is the time of the week where we just breathe, we do the inner work, we start to notice patterns and start to notice things we haven't noticed before. Because if you can start to look throughout your week, throughout your day, throughout this whole pandemic, for example, you will start to notice patterns and thoughts that your ego has made unconscious, right? Stories of when this happens, I'll be happy, right? Or stories of because this happened in the past, it's stopping me from feeling the way I want to now, right? I need that next level of success in order to feel enough. I need to achieve that level of income so I can feel safe. These are the unconscious stories we can miss. These are the unconscious stories that can go under the rug and we can run our decisions, actions, moods, relationships, our success. And it's here where we actually start to breathe. We start to look in. We start to notice what we haven't noticed before. And we do it from a place of curiosity. We do it from a place of love and exploration, so that when we raise awareness to these patterns, they can start to dissipate. And why is that? Because no fear, doubt, uncertainty, anxiety can continue in a space where it's actually seen, where it's actually heard, where it's actually understood, where it's actually loved. And I know I use the metaphor a lot, but it's always a positive reminder. And especially for myself, every single emotion that's coming up is coming up so it can come out, right? It's coming up to your conscious awareness because it's ready to transcend. It's ready to be released. But where we can catch ourselves is where we're either avoiding an emotion or where we're resisting it, right? Making it wrong, making us believe that we should be feeling something else or we need to be fixed. And these are the patterns. When we breathe, we can start to feel, we can start to be in a space of curiosity and awareness to these patterns, to these emotions that are emerging, and start to recognize that what's emerging is just an internal 5-year-old, who has a particular belief, right? A belief about who you need to be and what needs to happen in order for you to feel safe and in order for you to feel enough. Because as a child, as a toddler, as a tiny little baby, at some part of the journey, you learned this is who I need to be in order to be loved. And so these are the patterns that are now starting to emerge and starting to come about because it's ready to be seen. It's ready to be seen. So just for a few minutes, let's just breathe for a moment, because as you breathe, it brings you back to this present moment. It doesn't matter what you're doing right now. If you're doing housework, if you're just sitting down at your computer, if you have your phone somewhere and you're on a walk, if you're driving, doesn't really matter. You can start to breathe and that'll bring you back to this present moment. It's very hard to breathe and very hard to focus on your breath right now and be focused on the past or be focused on something on the future. Right? Always brings you back to this present moment. If I have some clients and I can see that they're hooked by something, I always ask them, are you breathing right now? And they say, yeah. I'm like, how do you know? And it always brings back their focus to now, because you can't focus on your breath without also being brought back into this present moment. So as you breathe right now, you might want to also just pay attention to this energy, pay attention to certain vibrations, sensations, tension, relaxation in your body. Pay attention to your physical body. And what do you notice? And while you pay attention to your body, can you also pay attention to your heart? Can you pay attention to this thing that's beating your heart? Right? You are here on this call because at some level you love this personal development, you love this internal exploration. And because of that, you can pay attention to your heart and be there for this internal 5-year-old that's coming up. This 5-year-old that feels sad, this 5-year-old that feels lost, this 5-year-old that feels confused, this 5-year-old that feels like something needs to happen in order to be loved. Notice what happens to your body when you hold a loving, safe space for that 5-year-old to feel however they want to feel. Notice what happens to your body when you just allow that emotion to be there. Now, one emotion that might go unnoticed is the emotion of confusion. I was talking to a lot of people this week, and this kept coming up, is the level of confusion and the belief that I need to know what I'm going to do next. I need to know the outcome. I need to know what my steps are. And that can really be an emotion you can hold, right? You can hold that space to feel confused, to feel like you don't know, and allow that energy in your body. Whenever I feel that, I feel like it's like a tingling in my chest. And that vibration in my chest, like, oh my God, like I don't know what's going to happen next and I don't know what to do. And I feel like I need to know. There's a side of me that feels like I need to know the answer. I get this vibration. Sometimes there's this tension in my chest. And I just welcome it and allow it to be there. And often that's the pathway to something else. Right? It's the pathway to a deeper fear that I haven't noticed, or a deeper uncertainty. And it can get really, really deep. But that's the beauty of this, because the deeper you go in terms of feeling these uncomfortable emotions is the deeper love, the deeper creativity, the deeper levels of alignment. Right? And if you in your business are moving forward with different collaborative moves or different levels of expansion, I'm sure you can see that if you are accessing this deeper level of love and creativity and flow, higher level ideas come in how you can serve, right? And how you can make a huge difference when you're focusing on what am I here to give? How am I here to serve? And those deep answers come when you feel these uncomfortable emotions, when you allow that 5-year-old to be there. Once again, if a 5-year-old was to come up to you in the park and they were scared because they don't know where their parents are, you wouldn't tell them, go away until you feel better. You wouldn't tell them it's wrong you're feeling this way. If a 5-year-old was to come up to you who was super confused, they didn't know what to do with their life, would you tell them, oh my God, we need to figure that out right now? Of course not. You would just hold the loving, safe space for that 5-year-old to just feel confused and just love them anyway. And so as you feel this confusion in your body and you allow it to be there and you just welcome it and you just breathe with it, you hold the loving, safe space for the side of you that thinks they need to know. And you open up this space that allows you to not know, right? And what will happen is once you finally start to register, once you finally start to live in that space of being okay with not knowing, you'll feel not only this deep sense of relaxation and tension will start to dissipate, but you'll get higher level ideas, right? You'll notice synchronicities and you'll notice some things in your life that come through that wouldn't have been able to otherwise because you didn't have space for it. Think of it this way. If I think I know the steps, like for example, with these collaborative calls that we've been doing, So for those of you, a lot of you who are on here will have jumped on the collaborative calls that we do once a week. And it's a very new sort of call that I've been doing. But yesterday we had like 20 something people on live who are all there to just collaborate, share their links, to organize joint ventures and partnerships and leverage their networks. And I started that just out of a heart's calling, just out of a passion project. And I've got no clue where that's going to go, right? I've got no clue what to do next. All I know is I just started it out of a passion because I'm like, I did a 2-hour meditation. I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we just got on a call like that? And then, so I made it happen. And then you guys all fell in love with it as well and got so much value from it that it just happened. And we're all okay with the fact that we don't know what's going to happen next. Especially me. I'm like, I've got no clue. I'm open for interpretation, but all I know is that it's a magical call because of the people on it are coming from such a heart-centered place that you guys make up the value, and I'm just willing to go along with the journey. And so if I knew the steps of where that collaborative call is going to go in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, if I knew the exact steps and I knew it was going to go here, I was going to grow there, I was going to grow here, and then we're going to shift into that place, and then we're going to go here, and then we're going to collaborate with this person, and then all of a sudden it's going to be at this number. That's what my mind can see. And if it's what my mind can see and what my mind is trying to make happen, I know I'm coming from ego and my mind, because if I follow my heart, it's being guided by so much more than what my mind can see. So when I'm following my heart, I'm opening myself up to all possibilities while also separating myself from the outcome, which opens up so much creativity, but also so much freedom. Because I'm not stuck on how it's meant to be and how it should be. And if it doesn't pan out that way, I'm going to be frustrated. Right? So I thought I'd just share that with you because it's coming up a lot for so many people in the community. And I'm just giving you permission, if it feels aligned for you, to just hold a space for that confusion. Just allow yourself to feel confused and open up that space for not knowing. Because being in the space of not knowing, being in the space of confusion is actually a huge, it's actually a huge step towards your awakening, towards a breakthrough. I was explaining this the other day. I'm not sure how many of you have been to a Tony Robbins event. I've been to both his in-person events, UPW and Date with Destiny. It was in Sydney and in the Gold Coast. And I've also done all of his online coach trainings. And every single time someone's in the crowd and he's doing an intervention, every single time someone says, I'm confused, everyone celebrates. Everyone jumps up and down, and Tony Robbins like, she's confused. And everyone just cheers. And why is that? It's because being confused is the state right before a breakthrough. Literally, your brain is trying to make different connections. It's trying to figure it out, trying to make this new connection because you're breaking away old stories. You're breaking away old patterns, right? And that's what confusion is, where you don't know what's going to happen next and you're trying to, work it out and what feels right and everything like that. And that's the moment before a breakthrough. Because as soon as you make that connection, you're now hardwired in a different way. You now have more insight, more awareness, right? So it's such a huge space to sit in confusion and know this level of feeling uncomfortable is so big. It's so big for your personal awakening and so big for your business, to just allow yourself to feel that. And coupling that with what I've seen as a big pattern is a lot of people are trying to figure it out from safety, right? They're trying to learn different business tools, tactics, strategies from a place of, if I knew that, I could move forward with safety. If I knew the steps, then I can succeed, but I can do it in a safe way, right? But if you do it in a safe way, let's say I give you the 5 steps to growing a Facebook group, over 1,000 members. You're like, oh, I'd love to have a Facebook group over 1,000 members. Yeah, let's do it. And then I give you the steps and you're like, cool, follow the steps. And then you get that 1,000 members because you followed those steps. The question is really, did you grow? Did you grow while following those exact steps to get that exact result? Of course not. Of course not, right? Because the crazy thing is what you get and what you achieve won't make you happy or sad, right? Or fulfilled or disappointed. It's who you become. It's who you become on the journey. Who you become on the journey is what will make you extremely happy, extremely fulfilled, or extremely disappointed. It's who you become. And if you got to really think about, who am I becoming if I'm following these steps, right? This guideline from safety. That's very, very different from taking your heart's leap that feels exciting and aligned in your body, but very scary to your mind, and following your heart and following your courage and taking those leaps, and then coupling in business strategy with your creativity, with your love, with coming from service, right? Coming from expansion. That's very, very different. So you can build, so for example, if you were to take your heart's leap and release something vulnerable on Facebook or in your content, or create a group from your passion, from something that's just pouring through you that says, this is what the world needs, this is what's coming through me. That is very, very different. And who you become in those moments is someone who you'll be very, very proud of, regardless of the outcome. I think we can build our business from that place of what's pouring through you from your heart's leap, accessing deeper levels of love and joy and creativity and flow and service, rather than trying to build it from a place of safety. So let me know in the comments or in the chat. Let me know if this resonates, or if I'm just going on a tangent and just drinking my peppermint tea. Manish says, totally agree. Awesome. Barb, it's who you become on the journey. Yeah. It is very different. Kay says, letting go and control going with the flow. Of course. So if anyone wants to jump on live here, I'd love to have a conversation about anything that's going on for you guys. And if you want to do some live coaching, more than happy for that. That's what I love doing the most. So if anything's coming up, if you want to jump on and talk about anything, or if you want help transcending these patterns, you guys know that's what I do. So Barb says, totally resonates. Laura wants to jump on. Cool, Laura. I'll promote you to a panelist. Give me 2 seconds while I drink my tea. And let's make this happen, hey? Let's create some magic. Let me remember how to promote someone to a panelist. I do it all day, every day, but I still forget. Where's your name, Laura? Here we go. Oh, hang on. I need to plug my earphones in. Hold on. So Laura, when you have a chance, unmute yourself. Now I've plugged my earphones in, I can actually hear you. That might help. How are you?
Pretty amazing. And this is coming out of the abyss of confusion and tears all week long. and,
awesome.
and something has connected. And so I thought, yeah, I really do have to share this, because we did that call a while ago, and I met my inner 5-year-old, and something happened interesting this week when I was meditating, because I have another, she's not 5, she's a teenager, and she's rebellious, and she's really something else. And so while I was meditating, I was crying because parts of my life are falling apart. And I got to meet Mother Sophia, and she was the perfect mother. She was like loving, generous, kind. And so that was really fun this week. But in the process, I've been falling apart even more, more confused. I mean, I don't even know what my business is at this time
Cool,
because
me either.
I'm so falling apart. And when you were speaking about the confusion, I just felt really hopeful. And I was like, oh, some of these things are going to be okay. I don't know. I got really excited when you talked about that.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. There's definitely a reason for that. First of all, who here on the call, if you want to type in the chat, it's cool, has ever felt like things are falling apart? Let me ask that, because it's something that is part of the journey, right? And so the call that Laura's talking about, is we jumped on a call, I think it was last week,
Yeah.
week, and we basically, like she said, she visited a 5-year-old that she hadn't visited before, but has been basically, controlling or running a lot of your life unconsciously. And so tell us quickly about that breakthrough of what you had, and then we'll talk about why this confusion's coming up.
Okay, so when I met Matilda, she has a name. She's 5 years old, and she sucks her finger, and she's very, very concerned about so many things. She wants to be able to do everything perfect. Her parents both were sick, so she wants to make sure they're safe and that she does everything she can to help them. Gonna cry. So she's just very worried about a lot of stuff, and she doesn't want anybody to be angry, and she's trying to control her environment to feel loved and safe. And those were the main things. There was something else that I'm not remembering at the moment, but
That's okay. So what you basically explaining is, and a lot of people can resonate here, is that there's this inner 5-year-old that says, I need to control my external circumstances, and I need to do everything the right way in order for me to feel enough, in order for me to feel loved, in order for me to feel safe. Am I hearing that right?
oh, absolutely.
And so many people here have that type of pattern. I mean, we all do at some level, right? We all do at some level. And it's just a matter of, exactly, Laura, you've done the work in terms of feeling all of that and allowing all of that to be there. And Laura sent me a message after that saying how big of a breakthrough that was and how different level of awareness. And I always tell people with a little bit of caution is, when you hold a safe space for this to be there, when you hold a loving safe space for these sides, a lot more is going to come up, because we're generally not taught to do this, right? We're generally not taught to feel these emotions. So there's a lot that is packed down. But here's the beautiful thing. If you can hold a loving safe space for something as big as that, you can hold a loving safe space for anything. There is nothing inside you that you don't have the space to hold right now, right? All the fear in the world, all the loss and confusion in the world, who we are as spiritual beings can hold a loving safe space for anything, right? And the fact that it's coming up means you can hold a safe space for it. It wouldn't be coming up otherwise, right? And so this is where the fall apart comes into it. So you describe it's like parts of my life are falling apart. Which parts would you say are falling apart?
Well, there's the real stuff, like I'm getting the divorce, my husband's getting ready to move out. We've been living in the same space because of different things, and so that's a real thing. And it's all real to me. And the whole I've been in this marriage for 30 years, and who I am, I have no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the person that was married for 30 years. I know her really well. I know what she does, what she doesn't do. I have no idea who this person is going to be. And I've been scared as can be. And then all the stuff that's going on in the world is beyond my desire as well. And I don't even know what my business is. I don't know nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing. I don't like it.
You
But
know
it's
what?
so real. I cry every day. I cry more every day than I had in years.
That's it. That's perfect. Because more is being released, right? We have this story that says crying means something's wrong. And also you have this story that says, I'm meant to know what my business is. And you have this story that says, who I am is this marriage. Hence why it would feel like parts of you are falling apart. It's because that's exactly what's happening, right? Parts of you are falling apart. And while parts of you break off, it's like, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the metaphor or the story of the golden Buddha. I think it was in Indonesia, might have been Indonesia, but it was a couple hundred years ago that a tribe came through and was taking over this village. And in order to save this big golden Buddha, they put clay and they put mud on this Buddha, so that when the rival tribe came through and this army came through, they wouldn't see it as valuable and they'd leave it alone. So in order to protect the golden Buddha, they basically, covered it up in mud. But that village got, basically taken out until hundreds of years later, someone stumbled upon the Buddha and noticed there was a crack in the mud, in the clay that's on this Buddha, and started to pull the clay apart and realized that underneath it was a golden Buddha, and realized the whole thing is gold. And the reason why that might resonate with a lot of people is because unconsciously we know that that's our story. We are born golden. We are born in that way, and we pack on a lot of patterns, a lot of ways of being, a lot of who I need to be in order to fit in order to be loved, identities of this is who I am, is my marriage, this is who I am, is my job, this is who I am, is the way I do things. And then we forget that we're golden underneath. And what you're starting to recognize, what's falling apart, is the sides of you that you think you are, and the sides of you that is that clay layer, right? That mud, that's the layer that's keeping you safe, just like the golden Buddha, keeping you safe. But also it's breaking away so that it can reveal who you really are, right? That's why confusion is so important. The golden Buddha was confused when those parts of him started breaking off. It's like, this is who I am. This is who I am in order to be safe, right? But that statue, that golden Buddha, was golden all along. So in order for you to fall apart, well, things are falling apart, allow them to fall apart. They're falling apart for a reason, and it's all a spiritual gift. So what's going through you when I explain that?
I asked for this. I did. I asked for this. I didn't know what it was going to look like or be like,
Exactly.
but I asked for it when I turned 60 to become my true authentic self. And it's been a long journey of deciding to let go of some stuff. And now I guess I've arrived
Yes.
to
This
where
is it.
all the stuff that isn't real is going to fall away. And
Yes.
I'm going to be excited when I'm not crying.
And you can be excited while you're crying.
Okay, maybe, yeah. Who knows? That could be next.
I
Yes,
remember
I'll
when
just
I
cry.
meditate and I cry, I sometimes especially when I started doing this, I was crying with a lot of sadness, but I was also, while I was crying, feeling a lot of peace. I could feel both of them simultaneously because I was okay with feeling sad. And that offered a lot of freedom, a lot of freedom, a lot of peace. And because I knew I could feel whatever I need to feel. And that's really what you're starting to
Yeah.
experience now more and more, is that when you start to be okay, I'm totally fine. And I welcome in confusion, sadness, disappointment, anger, whatever it may be, whatever's flowing through. And I just welcome all of that, knowing it's a 5-year-old that needs to be loved. That's probably why you're starting to feel free when I was talking about the confusion, and starting to feel more peace, starting to feel a release. That's why you're probably starting to cry some more, because more's coming up and more's being released because you've offered a loving, safe space for it.
Very nice. Well, what was also funny to me while you were talking about the 5-year-old, instead of my 5-year-old is usually sucking her finger and really, really, really sad with big scared eyes, but she was actually looking out a window of a train, wondering what was next. She was curious. So that was kind of odd, but that was cute. I liked that. That was
Yeah,
fun.
it was. So it's sort of shifting from sadness to curiosity. It's like this 5-year-old, now that this 5-year-old feels safe to feel however they need to feel, starting to get back that childlike curiosity.
Nice.
That's huge. That's a big shift.
This is wonderful. Thank you, Tyson. I am so blessed to have come across you. It's really amazing for me. Thank
Likewise.
you.
Likewise. Here's a final question for you. You were saying you're sort of starting to recognize what's not true, what's not real. With this deeper level of insight, what is real?
Right off the top of my head would be the journey. Which goes with my Pinocchio. I've always told myself I'm Pinocchio because I feel very wooden and I want to be the real me. And
Who's
Oh,
the real you?
That's a good question. I know. She's not afraid. I know that. I think she's Sophia. I think she's the one that was there with that just unconditional, loving presence of, So she's not like an inner sage though. Because I have that inner sage sometimes but yeah, that's pretty cool.
So the real you offers unconditional love.
Yeah.
What's true is the journey.
And she's so steady. She's stable. I mean, I just remembered that. It's like, because right now there's nothing stable in me or out of me as far as I'm concerned. And she was solid, stable.
Why do you think that is?
Well, intuitively, I've always kind of believed there is such a thing as the truth, that is the truth. And I think she's the truth. I think she is the truth. She holds the truth. That's what I think. Just truth. That's truth.
I'm sure the Golden Buddha stands there with absolute certainty, right? The true golden Buddha, while everything's breaking away, the true inner Buddha is just solid, right?
Wow.
Because
Right.
even think about how much inner peace you have, and think about how solid you can be and how grounded you can be if you know who and what you are, even while everything else is breaking away. While everything else is falling
Right.
apart, all external things in terms of your external identity of who I need to be, what needs to happen, what relationships I need to be in, how much money I need to make, what I need to do for my job, what I need to do for my business. While all that's breaking away, you can be solid because you know the truth.
Wow. What a gift. Oh my God. That is a golden Buddha, man.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's
Now,
amazing.
here's the beautiful thing. Because of this shift, because you're now golden, you now shine, right?
Wow.
And now it's up to you to share that gift. Everyone here has had their insights and breakthroughs. And sometimes with a breakthrough, you can go back to your old pattern of safety. But right now, with this insight, once you realize the truth, once you realize who and what you are, regardless of what's happening externally, you can feel that deep level of peace and insight and just being that presence. And now you can go out and give it. And you've just started that by giving here for everyone on this call. No doubt everyone here is benefiting from what you're saying and the insights you're having. And you can continue that and ask yourself the question of, with this insight, how may I serve? Right?
I'm going to write it down.
Go for it. Everyone here who's thinking about this, you can ask this question of, how may I serve? With this insight, how may I serve my community, my family? You know, might even be nature. How can I serve my garden with this level of presence? How can I go out and create something from a place of passion, a place of curiosity? What comes through for you, Laura?
I'm excited because I've been actually asking that question through all my tears of, I want to serve. I want to. It's so weird. You can feel so crummy about yourself and yet know that you have a gift to give that needs to be given, that you have a calling that has to be answered. And I'm excited because I'm just like, oh yeah, I watered my plants today, and so when you said garden, it was like, yeah. And then when I go to the grocery store, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I do that all the time with this. When I meditate and I have this different level of presence, and I go to the grocery store, I show up in a different way. Like I'm joking around with the staff. I'm just sending them private blessings just silently. And I'm just, operating in my world in a different manner. Right now, here's a question. This insight that you've had and this excitement that's flowing through you and this level of peace that you might be feeling, do you think that would be reached at levels you're feeling now without the tears? Do you think you could? Do you think these deep insights, do you think now you can serve at a different level because you're allowing your world to fall apart, your external world to fall apart, your expectations and stories and identities? Do you think because you're letting that go and you're allowing it to fall apart, do you think you can serve at a deeper level?
Yes. Yes, without them knocking on the door and dragging, because I try to, well, for quite a few years, I've been, like, no, not now, no, stop it, get out of here, stop. No, not now. I got stuff to do. And now it's like, okay, we just did all this. And it's like, now, oh, it's you. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we could be a little sad, but we don't have to really stay there because we already kind of, you know, we fixed it. I mean, I feel like I may still feel sadness, but I think I'll be doing what you just said. I will joyfully be crying.
Yes,
and
that's it.
releasing that.
Yeah. You can feel joy. You can feel joy and sadness. You can feel joy and confusion. You can feel peace and frustration. Like the dichotomy of the world we live in is the mind, but the heart can feel everything. The heart unifies oneness, right? So the heart can hold space for both the confusion and the peace, or the sadness
Wow.
and the peace. The heart can do that. That's what you're doing now when you're in your heart focusing on serving. Your heart can have deeper levels of insight, deeper wisdom. And so now you're moving forward thinking, how can I serve? And now you're starting to realize I actually can serve at a deeper level when I'm allowing things to fall apart, when I'm seeing past my patterns, when I'm getting these insights of who I really am. What are you feeling in your body now?
I'm really excited. It's like, oh, I want to go to the grocery store and say hi to everybody. Or
Yeah. The best thing about this is you can follow that excitement without expectation of what it will lead to, and without expectation of what you can get in return. You can go to the grocery store and just embrace everyone with so much enthusiasm and love, and feel exactly the same regardless of their reaction. That's the beauty of this, right? Because if you can do that when your marriage is falling apart, if you can do that when you have no clue what to do with your business, if you can do that when you have, your identity breaking away, you're showing yourself right now through example that you can feel how you want to feel regardless of what's happening externally. So you can show up, if you choose to show up day to day, every day, with this level of freedom and this level of excitement, this level of love, regardless of how anyone else behaves or reacts or treats you. You just operate from this place of love.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
That's the option we all have.
I love it.
Awesome. So what are you going to do after this call that's going to solidify this insight?
Well, I don't think I'm going to go to the grocery store. I think I'm going to write, actually. I think I'm going to meditate. I think I'm going to meditate and let this just really sink in.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's awesome. That's what I've been doing with reading passages from the Tao, although I finished the Tao Te Ching. But if I read something like that, I'll just sit down and meditate and like integrate it, right? Integrate it in your biochemistry and how you think and how you feel, and then taking action in life from that place, taking action from that place of love, that place of freedom, that new insight you have. So it's really, really cool. So definitely send me a message later after you've meditated, after you've written all this down and journaled, and let me know what else comes up, because there will be more coming up. But from this space, you can hold space for anything. Right? You can hold space
This
for
is
anything
so
that's flowing through.
beautiful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You're very
Thank you.
welcome. Thanks for sharing. Everyone on here will get a lot from that. So thank you for being courageous. Thank you for sharing your insights. And we look forward to seeing what will happen moving forward.
God bless you in every language. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Awesome, guys. How's that? Hey, that's what this is all about. Same day, same time every week. This is what we do. What else do we have? First of all, reach out to Laura for sure, and add it to your network and let her know how much this means to you, if this has helped, and if this is, if her example has helped you have an insight as well. So as we finish up, let's just all do that. Let's just all breathe and just sit here and meditate on what has been happening, and ask yourself that question, same as Laura, of how may you serve? How may you serve from this place, from this area of insight, from being okay with feeling confused, feeling okay with being stuck, allowing everything to break away, allowing you to be in a space of your identities falling apart, you can really create from that place. You can really start to move and start to operate from a different level. And that's a choice. That is a choice. So if anyone has any questions, I haven't been reading up on the comments in the chat box, but no doubt you guys are sending Laura plenty of love. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or feel free to put them in the Q&A. But I think that's a clear wrap. I think it's awesome that not only do we make these decisions, not only do we create this shift, but we integrate it in our life, because it's what you do moving forward that's really going to solidify this. It's always about having that integration. There's a few different levels of knowledge, right? It's knowing something intellectually, knowing something emotionally, knowing something physically. It's like, do you know it intellectually in terms of healthy eating, for example? Do you know what you should be eating and that's all, and then you just eat crap? Right? Is it emotional in terms of you feel hooked and you feel emotionally attached to eating right? And then physically, are you actually doing it, right? Actually eating healthy. But I think that's a wrap, guys. I think this was a beautiful, beautiful call. Thank you all so much for being here. I'll see you guys next week. For those of you who want to jump on the collaborative calls, they've been super special. I've been loving it. So much engagement, so much things coming out of it, so many collaborative calls, and it's just been so, so special. So if you guys want to jump on those calls, let me know. I'll send you the link to join. The recordings are on YouTube if you want to jump on there and meet some new people. But this has been really, really special. So thanks so much, guys, for being here live. I'll see you guys next week, and I'll definitely see you in the community. Thanks so much, guys, and thanks, Laura, again. Absolute superstar. Take care, everyone. Have a good